Good morning. Good morning to all. How you all are? Good? Yes, everything going well? Very good. So myself Abhishek Bhartiya sir is taking your strength of material. So those who are new to this channel, kindly subscribe to our channel, right? And please, all of you are requested to like the video so that we can see how many students are actually attending the classes. So please like the video, right? Those who are doing the live session or those who are doing the recorded session, those who are attending the classes, it's a request to please like the session and share with your friends more and more so that more students can see the video, and with a dream of making this channel as a one-stop solution, it can be possible. Okay, so first of all, today you might be knowing about me since I'm teaching you since 1 month. So you know about my team also, in which it includes Ashwarya sir, then Chetan sir is there, Avinash sir is there, Kshitiz sir is on board on the YouTube. You can watch his lectures on the transportation from 9 p.m. Right, Mrigant sir you are knowing, Nitesh sir you are knowing, Babulal sir you are knowing. Right. So first of all, before moving forward, today I'm going to discuss the YouTube schedule with you. Right, YouTube schedule, which if anyone is confused, let me discuss that. So it's very clear that till 13th of June, I will be taking your strength of material. Okay, and till that time also RCC is running. They're in the morning session in the English batch. Right. Thereafter, you can see here in the from the 15th of June in the English batch, the Chetan sir will take irrigation, and from the 15th of June, the OCF will be replacing the RCC and will be taken by Mrigant sir. It will be taken by Mrigant sir. Okay. Thereafter, if I look at the Hindi batch, in the Hindi batch, the Mrigant sir will continue his environment. The Mrigant sir will continue his environment, right? And thereafter, 9 p.m., there is a transportation we are starting. So one change you might be seeing here, the change is we have kept a half an hour gap in the gate and ESE batch. From 7 to 9, you can see that my class of strength of matter is there. Then RCC is starting from 9:30. Okay, so we are keeping a gap of half an hour on the request of the students, right? So this we are starting from this June, okay, so that you can get a time to get freshen up and you cannot miss any class. You can attend the live lectures. Okay, thereafter, in the Hindi medium also you can see for the gate and ESE, 7 to 8:30 class is running of environment, then the next class starting from 9. So feel free to take the classes, right? That's the only thing that I'm going to say, right? And the RSSMB batch that is running from 4 to 7, you can see that 4 to 5 Ashwarya sir will continue the soil mechanics, that is geotechnical engineering, right? 5 to 6 the hydrology will be running entire June, right? And 6 to 7 the steel will be taken by Nitesh sir, and Nitesh sir will also take the foundation part after 13th of June. Okay, after 13th of June, Nitesh sir will take the foundation engineering. So if you have any doubt regarding, you can ask. Now this is a YouTube schedule. Okay, now I would like to convey that what is the importance of Unacademy Plus subscription. See dear, only theory is not important. I'm repeating once again and again, right? Only doing the theory part is not sufficient. You need to solve questions, you need to have someone to clear your doubts. It's not possible to for us to clear your doubts each and every moment because we have limited resource. But on the Unacademy Plus, there are around 80 of faculties for the 80 faculties for the civil engineering. So it's very easy for the faculties to clear your doubts very easily, right? And in a very short span of time. So you can get your query solved within very short span of time if you ask on the Unacademy Plus. So that is your first main important part of the Unacademy Plus. Second, if I say what is the importance of Unacademy Plus subscription, then the importance lies in the batches. Most of you are not so much well equipped with the English batches. So for them, we have the Hindi batches also. We have the English batches also separately for those who, according to their preference, the batches are there. Right. What I said, there are doubt clearing sessions. There are doubt clearing sessions. right? The weekly tests are there, which is going to enhance your performance in the exams, right? The rank improvement batch starting from 15th of June, right? Crash courses are there, different crash courses are there, right? Then daily live class, you can see the daily live class. And for your information, I'm going to remind you that this daily live class, you can see once the class is over, you can see the recorded lecture. So that's not a problem. If you miss the live class, you can see the recorded lecture. And the second thing that I'm going to tell you is that, see, if you want to prepare, the preparation requires time. And this preparation you cannot see in 1 month, 2 month, or 3 month duration. You need to give time for your preparation, right? You need to give time to your preparations. Once you are giving time to preparation, it requires an environment. For 1 month, suppose you are on the YouTube, you are seeing the technical videos. Okay, that's not a problem. But how you are going to be motivated for 1 year or 2 year or 6 months during your preparation time? So that you can achieve only when you have a proper environment. And this environment we provide on the Unacademy Plus, right? The questions that you require to solve, the way you need to go ahead on the for the future, everything is there on the Unacademy Plus, right? So that you are going to see, that you will be seeing, you can select any batch you want, right? See the way we are teaching over there. Those who are doing the special classes, they know that's very different. The way you are asking the doubts, the way you are seeing the lectures, that's very different compared to the YouTube. And the understanding of any topic increases 8 to 9 times. So that is the thing that every student want, that they give less effort and gain more output from the faculty. Yes, you can see the doubt clearing sessions. The separate videos are there for the doubt clearing session, right? And as I told that yesterday, we started the your GS ESE pre-batch. So those who are interested, they can go for the batch. Please don't waste the time, right? You just don't need to do the technical. You require much more to achieve a good rank in the competition. And I'm telling this from my experience. Okay, so if you are willing, what you can do, you can go to the Unacademy app, select your goal. You can go for the subscription, right? After going for the subscription, you can select. I would advise you have to go for minimum 6 months. You cannot do any preparation in 1 month or 3 months. You should minimum go for 6 months. And if you want to see other exams also after this 6 month, you prefer a 12 month or 24 month strategy, right? And you follow my code. You can use my code, that is BHAR10, BHAR10, as my name is Abhishek Bhartiya. So I kept the code as BHAR10. So use this code and you can get 10% discount. Okay, right? And you have the option for EMI, that is, you can go for the debit card or credit card also. In debit card, we have currently the option of HDFC Bank. Other banks, debit card is not available, but credit card, all the banks are available. So if you are having, or any of your friends or parents are having, you can use this, right? And next, I will talk at the last. Okay, sir. So yesterday we were discussing about the shear stress, right? We have started the shear stress, and for your reminder, let me first go back. Okay, so yesterday we have seen that. There is a two type of shear that can be generated. One is due to the shear force directly, and other is due to bending. So in this chapter, we are not talking about the shear force that is directly inducing the shear stress at any section. We are talking about your the stress due to bending, which we call as flexural shear stress also, right? So we have seen that the shear is developing at a distance from the neutral axis, and as we move toward the center, the shear stress will increase, and this increase will be parabolic. This increase will be parabolic. So we have seen all these points, right? So we have this formula. I'm going to use this formula for the today's lecture for giving some further details. Okay, let's start then. Okay, So we have the formula for rectangular section. For rectangular section, let me decrease the thickness. For rectangular section we are going to try. So we know that if a rectangular section is there of width b and depth d, okay, so if I take the neutral axis, just a minute, let me decrease the thickness of all. It's not looking good. This is okay, green is not okay, let me correct it. Black is okay. So okay, we have this neutral axis, and if I talk about any section, AB, that is at a distance y from neutral axis. So we have seen in the last class that tau for AB we can write as 6v by BD cube d square by 4 minus y square, yes or no? So we have seen the shear stress at any section AB, right, that is at a distance y from the neutral axis. So today we are going to deal in very much detail about this particular part, about the tau AB, right? So first of all, we are going to find the maximum and minimum shear stress. Maximum and minimum shear stress. Okay. So let me visualize you this. For anything to be maximum or minimum, what you need to do? For anything to be maximum or minimum, what you need to do? You need to differentiate, yes or no? So if I differentiate it, that means d tau AB by dy, because y is the independent variable. This is equal to 0 for tau to be maximum. Yes or no? When I'm talking tau, that's a normal at any distance depth y. If I take any fiber AB, then what is the stress? That is saying that. Okay, so for tau to be maximum, what we can write? See here, if I differentiate this, it will be 6v by BD cube. D square by 4 is, differentiation is 0. Minus y square, that is nothing but minus 2y. This is equal to 0. So this implies y is equal to 0. So if we talk y is equal to 0, so what is y is equal to 0? What is y is equal to 0? When I say y is equal to 0, it is nothing but y is the distance from the centroid to any section where the shear stress need to be found, right? And if I'm saying that y is equal to 0, that means you are talking about the neutral axis. You are talking about the section at the neutral axis, yes or no? So I'm saying that y is equal to 0. So if I put y is equal to 0 there, then for y is equal to 0, what is the tau? If I put y is equal to 0, you can see that nothing is getting subtracted from the constant term. And if nothing is getting subtracted from the constant term, then that will be what? That will be maximum. Is it clear? That will be maximum. What I am saying to you, that if you look at this equation, if I am subtracting anything by putting some value of y, that will always be positive because it is a square. So if I put any value in this y, right, so that is going to reduce this constant term. That means this will finally reduce the tau AB. That means that is going to finally reduce the tau AB. Any value of y, if you are going to put any value of y is equal to any value, right? Any value. You can see that if you increase y, then tau AB will decrease. That is, shear at any section will decrease. So if this y is only equal to 0, then this tau will be what? This tau will be maximum. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? So what I'm saying, so this tau maths, when I'm saying, it is nothing but 6v by BD cube d square by 4 because I kept y is equal to 0, right? Thereafter, if I reduce d square, then 2, there it is 3, then we get as 3 by 2 of v by bd. 3 by 2 of v by bd. So this is your tau maths. That is 3 by 2 v by bd. Okay, this is your tau maths, that is 3 by 2 into v by bd. Is it clear? So for y is equal to 0, we got this value, right? That is your tau maths. Now when can be y minimum? That means when can be tau minimum? How can we obtain tau minimum? Yes, how can we obtain tau minimum? How can we obtain tau minimum? Tau minimum will be what? Nothing but, when I say tau minimum, for tau minimum, when I'm saying for tau minimum, so minimum shear stress is what? Minimum shear stress is what? Nothing but 0. Yes or no? Minimum shear stress when I'm talking, it is nothing but 0. And this minimum stress you are going to obtain when, see, I'm zooming out. So you are going to obtain when, if I put the value 6v by bd cube, okay, d square by 4 minus y square. And this I'm substituting equal to 0 because we know that the top and bottom cannot be subjected to any shear. So that shear is nothing but 0. So you can see from here that y is equal to plus minus d by, yes or no? That means at the extreme layers, you can see, the 0 shear, that is a minimum shear that is acting at a cross section. Okay, so any doubt you are having till now, please ask. Any doubt you are having for the maximum or minimum shear stress, please ask. Yes, any doubt? Any doubt you are having? Any doubt you are having regarding this? Yes? Yes, any doubt? Yes, any doubt? Okay. So, shall we move on? Yes. So, if I draw the shear stress distribution, the shear stress distribution is for rectangular section, mind it. Right. So, this is the first that I'm talking for the rectangular, in which I have taken the first part, that is maximum and minimum. And the second I'm taking as a shear stress distribution. Okay. So, if I take a rectangular section, you are taking the rectangular section, right? So, on this rectangular section, there is a width, there is a depth, right? And if I say this is my neutral axis, so what we have seen that the maximum will occur at the center, that is at the neutral axis, and the minimum will occur at the ends, that is 0. So here I'm representing this as tau maths. Okay, now we have proved that the variation is parabolic, and as we move towards center, since y will decrease, so the tau will increase. So as we move towards center, you can see the variation is parabolic. And it is maximum at the center. That is tau maths. So this is your tau distribution. Is it clear? This is your tau distribution. Now, if I consider the average stress across the cross section, so what is tau average? Average stress throughout the cross section, nothing but shear force upon cross sectional area. Okay, shear force upon cross sectional area. So if I say the shear force is V, so the cross section area we can clearly see as B into D. So this is the tau average that you are going to get. Okay, so if I draw the diagram of this tau average, how it will look like, see here. It will be less than tau maths, that is for sure. and that I'm going to prove also, tau average, right? So if I need to find the relation between, what is the relation between tau max and tau average? What is the relation between C point, relation between tau max and tau average? So that you can find from the value itself. That you can find from the value itself. See here, tau max you got as 3 by 2 V by BD. See on the top, green color. And the tau average you got V by BD. So we found tau max by tau average. We find tau max by tau average. So tau max you are getting as 3 by 2 V by BD. Okay. And tau average you are getting as V by BD. So you can see that V by BD cancel out. Okay. And you are left with 3 by 2. So you see that tau max is equal to 3 by 2 of tau average. Is it clear? Tau max equal to 3 by 2 of tau average. Right. So this is the one question that asked in the objective, that what is the relation between tau max and tau average, or they will give you the shear force at any section. You will give the loading at any section. You can find the shear force, the area would be given to you, and they will ask you to find the value of tau max. So this type of question they can give you in the objective, right? So that's the relation between tau max and tau average. Next, what can be the relation? What they can ask, that at what distance from the neutral axis the tau curve and tau average curve coincide. At what distance from the neutral axis the tau max and tau average curve coincide. Better to write y, as it is written as y only. So I will write the value of y. Okay. So what is the distance from the neutral axis where the tau curve and tau average curve coincide? So D point is distance from neutral axis where tau and tau average curve coincide. Okay, this is also one of the objective they ask. So we need to coincide both the curve. That means at that point, both the curve will represent the same amount of shear stress. Yes or no? Just use that. We are writing tau is equal to tau average. We are writing tau is equal to tau average. So if we are writing tau is equal to tau average, the tau is equal to 6V by BD cube. Okay. D square by 4 minus Y square. And what is tau average? Nothing but 3 by 2 V by BD. Okay. 3 by 2 V by BD. So you can see that V by BD cancelled out, right? Then 3 cancels 6 by 2, right? So what we are going to get here, VV cancelled out, right? B cancelled out. Okay. So what we are going to get, yes, what we are going to get, D square by 4 minus Y square is equal to what? D square by 4. Okay. Tau average is what? Just a minute. Tau is what? Tau is 6V by BD cube. D square by 4 minus Y square, right? And tau average is what? Nothing but V by BD. So what we are going to write? B cancelled out, B cancelled out, D cancelled D cube by D square. Right. So we get the value as D square by 4 minus Y square is equal to D square by 6. So from here what I am going to get, Y square is equal to D square by 4 minus D square by 6. So if I take the LCM, it will be 6, 4 LCM is 12. 4, 3 minus 2 D square. Right. So from here what I get, Y is equal to D by 2 root 3 plus minus D by 2 root 3. Okay. So this is the distance from the center, right? So if I plot this in the diagram, then Y is equal to D by 2 root 3. Okay. And bottom also you are going to see Plus indicate you are moving up, minus indicate you are moving down. Okay, so just have a look. Any doubt in this rectangular derivation, please ask. Any doubt in this rectangular derivation, please ask. See this? Any doubt you are having? Any doubt you are having regarding this, please ask. Yes, any doubt you are having, please ask. Yes, any doubt? Any doubt you are having? Any yes, any doubt you are having, please ask. Please ask. If it's clear, please press yes or thumbs up. If it's clear, please press yes or thumbs up. Yes? Is it clear? Is it clear? Good, good, good. So let me enlarge this. Okay. Now, so this is for rectangular cross section. Okay. Now we are going to talk about second, that is triangular section. Triangular cross section. So now for all the other cross section, we are just going to write the values of the maximum and average relation that is asked in the objective. Nothing extra is required than that. So suppose there is a triangular section of width B, okay, and height H, and height of H. Okay, so I want to find the relation. So first of all, what is tau average? Tau average is nothing but we write as shear force upon cross sectional area. So shear force is V and cross sectional area is half into B into H. So now here the maximum is represented at 2 points. One is at the center, that is not your centroid, and other is your, if I write the neutral axis will be at the centroid, okay, that is at a distance of 2h by 3 from the vertex, and the midpoint will lie at h by 2. Okay, got my point? Is it clear? So let me write this tau average below so that I can use the diagram. So what is said that this tau average is nothing but shear force upon cross sectional area, that is nothing but V by half into B into H. Okay, so now if you look on the diagram, if you will solve the equation, what you are going to see that the maximum is not occurring at the neutral axis. The maximum is not occurring at the neutral axis but at the center, that is at h by 2. So this I am writing as tau max. Okay, and at the neutral axis I am writing tau max 1. Okay, so if I find the tau average, this tau average I am writing as V by half into B into H. So this tau max is 3 by 2 of tau average, that is your maximum value, and this tau max 1, this tau max 1 is 4 by 3 of tau average. Okay, this tau max 1 is 4 by 3 of tau average. This is just a formula that you need to remember. They will ask you directly. They will ask you directly. Okay, so just remember the formula, right? Second we have seen. Third we are going to see. Third we are going to see, that is circular cross section. So if I take a circular cross section, try to make a proper circle. If I take a circular cross section, right? So I hope this circular cross section you can see. Yes, I've tried to make it a proper circle. Yes or no? Okay, good. So if I take a diameter D circle, right, and if I draw the stress variation, then it is 0 at the surface, and it will reach maximum at the neutral axis. And since it is symmetric, so it will lie at center, that is d by 2. So if we draw the diagram, we can see that the maximum is occurring. The maximum is occurring at the center, right? So this is your tau max. Okay. So again, the relation we want. So how to get the relation? The tau average is nothing but shear force upon cross-sectional area. Shear force I'm saying as V. So what is the cross-sectional area? Yes, what is the, come on, comment here. What is the cross-sectional area? What is the cross-sectional area? What is the cross-sectional area? Yes, nothing but pi by 4 d square, right? So what is tau max? The tau max is given as, can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me what is tau max? Yes, can anyone tell me what is tau max? It is nothing but 4 by 3 of. So I am telling you again how they are going to ask from these parts. They will give you the loading condition, and at any section they are going to ask you what is the maximum shear stress that can act at this section. Okay, so this is your circular cross section. Fourth we are going to see is diamond section. Diamond section. So if I say diamond section, what is this diamond section? Try to understand. It is nothing but a square rotated by 45 degree. Rotated by 45 degree. Okay. Such that its diagonals become horizontal and vertical lines. So this is 45 degree, right? So if I say the side length is A, because it's a square, and since it is a square, both the diagonals will be perpendicular and both the diagonals will be equal. Yes, yes. So if I say that the total height is h, if I say that total height is h, then what you are going to see that, see, what you are going to see that the maximum is not occurring at the neutral axis, but at a certain distance from the neutral axis, and this is the stress variation. With the maximum you are observing at a distance of h by 8 from the neutral axis. So the other distance becomes 3h by 8 as it is symmetric. So because half of the distance is h by 2. Okay. Similarly at the bottom also it is h by 8, and at the down also it is 3h by. Is it clear? So if someone asks me what is tau max, the tau max I can see, I can see over here. This is your tau max, right? Again, this is your tau max. Okay. So if I need to find the tau average is nothing but shear force upon cross sectional area. Since it is a square of side A, we can write as V by A square directly, nothing more than that. Okay. Thereafter, if I need to find tau max, we write this tau max as nothing but 9 by 8 of tau average. Tau max we write as 9 by 8 of tau average. Okay. So this A, either you can also write this cross sectional area in terms of h, but that I think is not required. That is not required. So that's why I haven't written that. Otherwise, you can write in terms of h also. That is not a problem, right? Okay. So this is your diamond section. So any doubt in this 3 section, please ask. Just zooming out. Yes. Any doubt in the 3 sections, please ask. Any doubt in the 3 section? See, these are the formulas that you need to remember. We can't let you solve all the different formulas for triangular, circular, diamond. That's why I've given it directly. Okay, the only thing that is required. Anything else you want to ask? Anything you want to ask from this? Anything you want to ask from this? Yes? Yes, anything you want to ask from this? Done? Done? Okay. Okay then. Let's zoom in. Okay, let's zoom in then. Now, we need to go for shear stress distribution. Right. Shear stress distribution. For various cross section. For various cross section. Okay. So the first point that you should know for drawing the shear stress distribution is that shear stress is inversely proportional to width, because we know tau is equal to VA y bar by IB. Right. First of all, we are saying that the shear stress is inversely proportional to width. That means if width at any section of the cross section increases, right? If width increases, then your shear stress will decrease. And vice versa, if better to say, if B decreases, then at that point shear stress will increase. So this point you should be considering while drawing the cross section. Second is as you move towards center, as one moves towards center of cross section, okay, as one moves towards center of cross section, then what is going to happen? The tau will increase. Tau will definitely increase, right? And the third point is just try to understand the variation will be parabolic. So if you consider these 3 points, you can draw any shape of shear stress distribution, right? They will ask you only those which is possible with these 3 points, right? Which are not possible with these 3 points, like diamond, if you look, right, they are not going to ask those type of questions, right? Because everything has certain limitation, right? We cannot go for PhD in any of the questions, so we are moving accordingly. So just see these 3 points. Any doubt you are having, please ask. Yes, any doubt you are having, please ask. Okay, so these 3 points will be used for drawing the shear stress distribution. So I will start one by one. First is your T section. Okay, so how they are going to give you? They are going to give you a line, right, which is indicating that apart from the junction point, it will indicate that the maximum is going to occur at this point, right? Second, we will look at H section. Second, we are going to look at H section. Okay, So on the edge section, first of all, I'm mentioning a centered line where it will be maximum, right? That is nothing but your neutral axis because it is symmetric. Then the junction points there where the width is changing. Okay. So for both the cases, I need shear stress distribution, right? So let me see the first case first. First case, okay? I will solve more questions. We'll go one by one. First, let us look at the first case, right? So in the first case, the one thing that is clear that one thing which is clear that the shear stress at the ends will be what? Come on, reply fast. Shear stress at the ends will be what? Shear stress at the ends will be what? Shear stress at the ends will be what? Come on, reply fast. Come on, reply fast. Shear stress at the ends will be what? Yes, it is 0, right? And as we move towards center, it will increase. So let's move from top. So I'm moving towards center. The value will increase and this increase will be parabolic. This increase will be parabolic, okay? This increase will be parabolic. Now, there is a flange, there is a web. As you move from flange to web, as you move from flange to web, you can see the junction point. As you move from flange to web, the thickness will increase or decrease. As you move from flange to web, the thickness will increase or decrease. Yes, thickness will increase or decrease. Thickness will decrease, and if the thickness will decrease, we have seen that it is inversely proportional. So if thickness decreases, then the shear increases. So you can see there is a sudden change in the thickness, so there is sudden change in the shear. This sudden change is due to change in thickness suddenly across the cross section at the junction, right? And as I move towards center, then again the shear is going to increase. As I move towards center, the shear will increase. Is it clear? Right. And if you look at the bottom part, there is uniform thickness. So I will moving from down to up towards the center point where the maximum you are going to see. So if it is constant throughout thickness, so you can see the uniform increase. Okay. You can see the uniform increase. So that is your uniform increase. So this is your shear variation. This is your tau variation. This is your tau variation, right? This is your tau variation. Any doubt? Please ask. Any doubt? Please ask. The concept, the funda is very clear. The concept is very clear. What the concept is telling, is that that you see first at the ends is 0. Now move towards center, right? If the width is constant throughout, as you move toward the center, then the parabolic increase will be constant. But if there is a change in thickness at any section, then you need to see the sudden change in the shear stress diagram that we have seen. Okay, so that's the point. Come on, try the second question. Try the edge section. Try the edge section. Try the edge section. Till then, I will draw another section. Come on, try the edge section. Yes, try the edge section. Same point, same thing, same way. See where the shear stress, where the thickness is constant. When the thickness is changing, right? Everything you need to see. Then only you can answer. Okay, so let me show the center line first, where the maximum is going to see. Come on, try that section. Try that section. Try the H section, dear. Yes, try the H section. Then we'll go for the I section. That is not I, that is a symbol, spire symbol, church spire. You can see in the on the church, right? Yes, or in the hospitals. So please draw H. First see at the ends, then move towards center. If the thickness across the section of a cross section is same, then increase parabolically. If there is sudden change, please go for that sudden change. Right. And again, if you are moving towards center, it should increase, it should not decrease. Yes, come on, draw fast. Last 1 minute. Last 1 minute. Come on, draw fast. Last 1 minute. Yes, yes, yes. Draw fast. Draw fast. Draw fast. Draw fast. Yes. 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 Okay, see then, if I look at the ends, the value is 0, right? As I move towards center, so till the point where the thickness is same throughout the cross section, we can see that the shear stress will increase parabolically. I'm coming from top first. Okay. It will increase parabolically. Now at the junction, you can see that as you move down, while you are coming from from top to bottom, you can see that at the junction the thickness is increasing or decreasing. Come on, tell me, the thickness is increasing or decreasing? Come on, think, the thickness is increasing or decreasing? Yes, it is increasing. So if thickness is increasing, what will happen to the shear stress? If thickness is increasing, we have told that tau is inversely proportional to B. So if thickness is increasing, what will happen to the shear stress? Yes, yes, it will decrease. Come on, reply, man. It will decrease, right? And as I move towards center, again it will increase. So either you can see in this form, or you can also see that the maximum you can observe, but that depends on the thickness of the middle portion, right? And since it is symmetric, so we can use this symmetricity. So the maximum you are observing, rather than saying maximum, the increase in the shear stress you can see as you move towards the neutral axis, right? So that is your second case. Any doubt in this? Any doubt in this? Any doubt in this? Okay, so go for the I section. That is, sorry, go for the spire cross section. Please draw. Try to draw. Try to draw. Yes, try to draw. Try to draw. Try to draw. I'm solving drawing the next question. Please try to get the answer. Once I complete the question, I will be explaining. But I would like you to first solve. Please try to get the answer. Please try to get the answer. Yes. Yes, please try to get the answer. Yes. Yes. Okay, see then. See then. First of all, construct a vertical line. Now we know that at the ends, at the ends, at the extreme surface, the shear stress will be zero because no material will be at the top or the bottom which can shear it, right, or apply the shear force. Okay, so from here now, see, as you're moving towards center, you can see the till the junction, there will be till the junction there will be parabolic increase, right? As we move from top to the bottom and we see cross the junction, we cross the junction, then the thickness of the section on the cross section will increase or decrease. Come on, tell me, the thickness will increase or decrease? Yes, thickness will increase or decrease. The thickness will decrease. Yes or no? And then again it is moving towards center, so the value will increase in the parabolic manner, right? Then again symmetry is there, we are drawing the symmetry. Is it clear? Got my point? Yes. Okay, now look at the next. Same way as I draw the H, same way. Yes, come on, see the I. It's some just a game I played with you, right? You should understand the thickness. You should understand the thickness at each and every section, right? And you will be able to draw the shear stress distribution. Come on, get the answer. Get the answer. Come on, get the answer. Get the answer. Yes. Yes. I hope you have got the answer. Yes, I hope you have got the answer. Right. So if I draw the diagram at the extremes first, the value will be 0, right? As I move towards center, the value will increase. Now you can see the sudden change in thickness. The thickness is decreasing, so there is sudden increase. Okay, there's sudden increase. Again, till a particular point, it is constant, so it will just increase. Again, sudden, again increase, sudden, increase, sudden, and then maximum. Right? Similarly, since it is symmetric, so we can use the symmetricity. Okay. So this type of curve you are going to obtain from the shear stress distribution. Okay. Any doubt? Any doubt? Yes, any doubt? Is it clear? So just you need to see the thickness. You need to see it's parabolic and it is increasing towards center. Next, try to draw this. Try to draw the fifth one. Try to draw the fifth one. Try to draw the fifth one. Yes. Try to draw the fifth one. Try to draw the fifth one. Yes. Try to draw the fifth one, dear. Yes. Try to draw the fifth one. Yes. Okay, see then. Extremes value is 0. Okay. As you move toward the section till the point where the thickness is constant, it will increase parabolically. Now you can see that as you move toward the center, the thickness is decreasing gradually. So if the thickness is decreasing gradually, then the shear stress will also increase gradually. So you can see that there is a gradual increase, right, in this hollow portion. Right, there's not sudden increase area is since the area is increasing, the width is decreasing gradually, so the shear stress will also increase gradually. So this is your shear stress distribution. It should be symmetrical, but it's not. I've not shown that. It's not possible to show now. So I can show if I draw it again. It's not an issue. You have understood, I think. Right. Those who have understood, please try to solve the next question. The more the questions you solve, I'm telling again and again, the more the questions you are going to solve, the better you are going to become in any of the subject. And that's why on Unacademy Plus, we are introducing the rank improvement batch, in which we will be solving only more and more questions, so that students who are in the who have just completed their BTech, or those who have practiced, or those who have prepared once, they can be benefited with the questions more and more. And if you face any problem, in any of the subject, you can enroll in the regular batch that is in the same subscription, right? And you can attend the lectures for your doubts, right? So this is the biggest advantage. You are having with the Unacademy Plus subscription, right? And you can also prepare for other exams like GATE, ESE, or any of the goals you are having. You will not be scarce with the content, with the quality. Okay, you're not scarce with the content or quality. That is our part, that we will be ensuring it that you get that quality. Okay, so that is the advantage of Unacademy Plus subscription. If you want, you can come on, go for the sixth one. 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 Yes, go for the sixth one. Thereafter, we'll start the shear flow. Then start the shear flow. We'll discuss what is the importance of shear flow. Right. Please get the answer. Yes. Last 1 minute. Come on, get the answer fast. Last 1 minute. Come on, get the answer fast, dear. So this week, I have planned something different for you, for making you motivated more. I planned a session with a IS candidate who is currently a IS officer. He is placed in Punjab side for a IIT construction, right? So he is heading all the construction activities, right? I will let you visualize how he is working over there, what is the experience of him, like how they started, okay, and everything. You will love that session. It's my guarantee. You love the session, right? That I will be announcing the date and time very soon, very soon, very soon, right? Most probably tomorrow I will announce, right? Okay, see then. First of all, the shear stress at ends is 0. The where the thickness is increasing, the what you can see, as you move towards center, the thickness, we know that it will vary the parabolically, right? We have seen that for the circular, and since there is sudden change, so again you can see this type of curve, right? So similar to that of the first one, you can see the second one also. You can see the second one also, right? So these are the few examples that you should know for the shear stress distribution. They will ask you directly in the IES exams or in the GATE or the ES objective, right? They can ask you all these questions directly. Any doubt you are having, please ask. Any doubt you are having, please ask. Any doubt you are having, please ask in the 6 questions that we have done. Any doubt? Yes? Any doubt? Sure? Yes? Sure? Okay. Okay then. Next, we are talking about shear flow in beams. Shear flow in beams. Okay, rather than starting the shear flow in beams, this I have drawn the in a vertical direction. What is the shear distribution? Now I am going to draw shear distribution across thickness at a section. Now just try to understand my point here. See, if I take a I section, okay, if I take a I section, so now over this I section, I will be talking at the distribution over a thickness. Okay, suppose AB is the layer where I want to find the shear stress distribution, right? That means what I'm doing, see here, if suppose this is the neutral axis, right? This is the neutral axis. So what I'm going to tau is equal to VA y bar by I into B. Okay, and I want to shear stress distribution at a section across thickness of a section, right? So suppose I want the shear stress distribution at the leftmost corner A. So you can see that it cannot be sheared by any of the members, right? Now, as I move towards the center, what I'm going to see, the amount of shear is increasing. Yes, and you can see that the width is constant throughout. Yes or no? The width is constant throughout. So B is constant for this variation, right? What you are going to see is, if I talking about this layer, then the area, whatever the area you are going to see, suppose if I take 1 1 or I take 2 2, right? So for 1 1 if I take, it will be sheared from the left end till this one. Okay, so this will create shear. Suppose if I say the distance is h, right? So this h distance will create shear. This h distance strip will create shear on 1. Okay, suppose if I take 2, then the strip that is causing shear will increase, and let us say that is 2h. Okay, so this 2h strip will cause shear, will create shear on 2. Okay, got my point? Similarly, it will happen from the right hand side also, right? So y bar that you are going to see, since all the area, whether you take this area or the another area, right? So what you are going to see that the y bar will be same, right? Here also the y bar will be same, yes or no? So this y bar is also constant. This y bar is also constant. I is constant for a section, V is constant for a section. So now it comes A. Now if you look at this, if I say this thickness as T, right? So here the area that is causing the shear at the section 1 will be T into H. The area that is causing the shear at 2 will be T into 2h. So you can see that this area is going to increase. Yes or no? So I am writing that tau is directly proportional to the distance from the ends. Is it clear? So as you move towards center, the tau value at a section will increase. Are you able to understand this? Yes or no? I'm repeating once more. Just try to understand. We have written tau is equal to VA y bar by IB. So what I'm saying that at this point, I'm talking at a section, right? At a section AB. I want to do the analysis on this section AB. I want to do the analysis on this section AB. Okay, I want to do the analysis on this section AB, right? So if I have to do the analysis on this section AB, first of all, we should understand that which is creating a shear, right? If I look at the section HH, see the section HH, there is no such material on the left hand side of the section HH that can cause shear. So there is no shear at the section HH. But if I move to 1, we can see that the area of T into H is creating shear, right? That is, we can see that the area that is causing the shear, that is T into H, this is the area, because when you apply the load, this is going to shear in the bottom, so it will create a shear force at this section HH, right? So this area of T into H will create shear on the your section 1. Similarly, if I look at section 2, this will increase. So if someone asks you to draw the shear stress distribution, so how I'm going to draw? Just see to it. So if someone asks you how to draw the section, what I'm telling that at the maximum you are going to see at the surface, and since the power of H is 1, we can see that the variation will be linear. We can see that the variation will be linear. Okay, you can see that the variation is linear at a section, right? So this is your shear stress variation, which will increase as you move towards center, right? Similarly, you can see the shear stress. If I take this layer, you can see that the variation is such that it is minimum, that is 0 at the ends, and maximum at the center. maximum at the center. Is it clear? Right? Is it clear? Okay. Similarly, if I look across the depth, so we can see that with increase, the variation will be what? Parabolic. This variation will be parabolic, right? Because area will also increase and y bar will also increase, so it cannot be linear. So this is the shear stress distribution, right? Similarly, if I take a T section, so on a T section, if I need to draw the shear diagram, this was also the shear flow diagram, which indicate the force that is acting at a section, right? If I write this shear stress distribution or thickness, or we write the shear flow diagram. Okay, so you can see that for this part, again, as I move towards center, the shear will increase. That increase will be linear. Right? And again, if I look at the depth, over a depth, you can see that the variation is parabolic. Right? So this is the way the diagram comes. Now you can draw for any shape you want. Right? You can draw for any shape you want. Just remember that if you take any section, then at the center it will be maximum and at the ends it will be 0, and it will increase linearly. Why linearly? It should be very clear, right? Why linearly? It should be very clear to you. Yes, any doubt? Any doubt in this? Yes, any doubt? Okay, see then. Any doubt, please ask. Okay. So if next I'm talking about the shear flow at any section. Shear flow. What is shear flow? You should understand. It is nothing but, if I define properly, it is shear force per unit length. It is shear force per unit length. It is shear force per unit length. Okay. So if you remember, yesterday we have taught something, that if I say this is a beam, right? And we have discussed it yesterday that if over a length of dx, right, we can see the neutral axis, right? So over a length of dx, if at a distance y, right, if at a distance y we take a fiber, okay, if we take a fiber, then on this fiber we have seen yesterday that the unequal stresses are acting. Yes, so this area above we have taken as dA, if you remember, right? And that the area is as the section is at a distance y, that you can see. So we have cut the section, right? We have cut the section also, shown you the section also. I'm not so good in making figure, but I'm trying my best that you understand. Okay, so if you remember, we have seen that if on one side there is a moment of m, then other side it will be m plus dm. So this dm moment is constant around this thickness dx, right? And due to this, if one side, if I say there is a tension, one side I say there is a tension, better to not to write like this. If I say that on one side there is a tension of sigma, then other side it is say tension of sigma plus d sigma, right? And if the cross section area is dA, so we know that there is a unequal stress of d sigma dA, right? And this is balanced by the shear that is acting at the bottom surface, that is this is dh. If I say, then this dh and this length is b, this width is b, right? So we know that a shear is acting, we can show over here, right? We know that a shear is acting on this bottom surface, right? in the direction such that it is balanced, yes or no? So now I am saying this as df force. Df force. Okay, this I am saying as df force, that is due to shear. Okay, so now I am talking about the shear force per unit length, right? So if I am talking about the shear force per unit length, that means I am talking over the length of dx. So that is df by dx. Is it clear? So I am not writing in terms of tau because it's not required. It's required in terms of force, right? So this df by dx we are talking. So for finding this, what I'm writing, df by dx, this is equal to d sigma. We have seen yesterday, we can write as dm by I into y, and this dm is constant because I'm talking over the length of dx, right? So dm by I into y into dA upon dx, right? So what we can write, see here, if I integrate over the entire cross section, I'm saying that should be very clear. I'm not integrating over a length, I'm integrating over across a cross section. So this df by dx will be what? In dm by dx again will come out because over a cross section it will be a constant, right? That we have already seen yesterday, into 1 by I into y dA. Yes or no? Into y dA. So we know that if I integrate, this df by dx will become force per unit length, right? dm by dx we write as v. Integral y dA, we have seen that it is a y bar, and this is upon I. Is it clear? So force per unit length, this is your shear flow, which is written as q star. Okay, and v is the shear force. A y bar we write as capital Q. Most of the books you can see this formula, capital Q by I. So this q star is v into q by I, right? Where q is nothing but a y bar, that you know that it is the moment of area about the neutral axis, right? Moment of area about the neutral axis. V is the shear force at any section. I is the moment of inertia of the entire cross section. So this is the shear flow, right? This is the shear flow equation which gives the that over a length of dx. You can see that this over a length. Look at this. Over this length of dx, what is the force that is acting at any section? That is indicating from here. Now, thing is, what is the importance? What is the importance of shear flow? Importance of shear flow. Very important thing, most of the time asked in the interviews. Importance of shear flow. Just try to understand, the main importance lies in the build-up section. Built-up section which you see in the steels and construction work, right? So there you see the importance. For example, let us say there is a I section, or better to say, first take a simple example. Let us take a T section. So this is a built up section. So if I take a built up section, what is going to happen? Just try to understand. The two different built up members will be connected, right? So if the two different built up members will be connected, right? So they need something to get joined. Either you join with the help of your pin connection or bolted connection, or you go for welding or gluing. Are you getting my point? Or you go for welding or gluing, right? So the thing is you will study in the steel structures that you cannot provide this connection throughout the entire length. You need to give some spacing so that your design becomes economical. Because if you put the steel at each and every corner, what is going to happen? Your design will become uneconomical. You cannot weld across the entire length. You weld at a certain distance, then give a gap, and so on, right? Weld gap, weld gap, weld gap, like that you need to show, right? So what does the shear flow governs? Suppose you know that at this junction, you know that what is the shear flow, right? At this junction you know what is the shear flow because it is independent of width. So if width is changing, that is not a concern to me, right? I just need to see the area and y bar, right? So suppose I want to find the force per unit length at this point. So that is what, suppose this is your neutral axis. Suppose I want to find q star, that's what I'm saying. So what you will doing, you will take, let me change the color. Okay, so you will take a area, either you can take above or below, it's your wish, right? So this area I'm taking, this is the area, right? And y bar, I will take its centroid from the neutral axis. This is y bar, right? Shear force you can find, I you can find. So that will give you the q star. Now how you are going to use it? Suppose you are using a nail, right? Suppose you are using a nail, that is, you are riveting it, and one bolt has a capacity of one bolt. You are using a bolted connection, okay, and one bolt has a capacity of, let us say, 10 kilonewton. One bolt has a capacity of 10 kilonewton, right? One bolt has a capacity of 10 kilonewton, and you got q star as 40 kilonewton per meter. Okay, you got the value of q star as 40 kilonewton per meter. So can you determine number of bolts required over 1 meter length? Yes or no? Number of bolts required over 1 meter length. Yes or no? Yes or no? What will be number of bolts? Come on, tell me. What will be number of bolts? Yes. What will number of bolts? Yes. Nothing but 40 by 10, which is nothing but 4 bolts per meter. That means over a 1 meter length, you are going to apply 4 bolts, right? Suppose if I see in the cross longitudinal view, the top part, right? If I see in the longitudinal view, so longitudinal view look like this, right? So how you are going to apply 1 bolt, 2 bolt, 3 bolt, 4 bolt, like this is over a length of 1 meter. Got my point? So that is the importance of shear flow. Is it clear? Yes or no? So the basic purpose of shear flow is basically in the built up connection, and in the built up connection the joint where the loading is there, we find the what amount of force is transferred to the joint, and based on that we find the number of bolts, okay, that is required. Or suppose the weld we are applying, and we know that what is the strength of weld, right? So based on that, we decide what should be the length of weld, so that the length we are providing, and then we give a spacing and so on. Okay, so this is the way we go for the shear flow. Similarly, if I take a I section, suppose we are taking a I section, the first one. Okay, second, if I take a I section, okay, then let me attach the another member. Okay, now see here, see at this point, suppose you are doing the bolting at the connection, right? So for connection you can see, so you have done the bolting at the connections, right? So at the junction, if you look at the connection, you can see, if I see the neutral axis, so from the neutral axis you can see the shear stress is produced at the junction by the respective areas. This is creating the shear stress. Yes or no? Yes. So you can find this area, you can find this Q star, you can add all the Q star at all the junction, right? Shear force at for the per meter length you need to find. So you need to find per meter length for the entire cross section, right? So for per meter length for the entire cross section, if you need to find, so what you need to do, suppose this is a distance of y1 bar, area is a1, right? This is at distance of y2 bar, right? Area is a2. Okay, similarly, if I look at the next, it is y3 bar, the area is a3, and the next, the distance is y3 bar, the area is a4. Okay, so this is the way it is there. So first of all, you are going to find Q star, and this Q star is what? You write VA y bar by I, yes or no? So you write VA y bar by I. So V and I is constant. V and I is constant. So for a particular cross section, if I need to find, what I'm going to write, A1 y1 bar plus A2 y2 bar plus A3 y3 bar plus A4 y4 bar. Got my point? Yes or no? So this way you can find the Q star, that is the shear flow force that is acting per unit length, right? So based on that, you can see that at one section there are 4 bolts used, right? So you can imagine how many number of bolts you require accordingly. Okay, you can imagine how many number of bolts you required accordingly. Is it clear? Right? So this is the way, this is the importance of shear flow for the designing of the built up section. Okay, for the designing of built up section. Is it clear? Any doubt? Any doubt, please ask. Any doubt, please ask. We'll solve question on this also. We'll solve question on this also. Please ask any doubt you are having. Yes, any doubt you are having, please ask. Any doubt you are having, please ask. Yes, any doubt? Any doubt you are having, please ask. Yes. Any doubt you are having? So shear flow, it should be very clear. It is defined as the shear force that is acting per unit length, right? And when talking about this, the value, the formula is very clear to you. And what I'm saying, the importance is to design the built up section. Importance of shear flow, I'm writing as to design built up section. Okay, to determine what is the force developed at the junction, and correspondingly how many number of bolts, or what is the length of gluing that we need to do for the connection, right? So we have seen that how to find the area y bar for the different sections. Now you are ready for the question. Now you are ready for the question. Let's see the question. Let's see the question. Yes, this is GATE 2006 question. This is GATE 2006 question. A question has came in GATE 2018. I would like you to solve that question. A question has come in GATE 2018. I would like you to solve that question. Okay. Yes. So look at this question. Look at this question, dear. Look at this question. I want you to please solve. I've given all the data that is required. Yes. All the things that you require to solve this question I have explained. Please try to get the answer. Please try to get the answer. Yes. Please try to get the answer. Please try to get the answer, dear. Please try to get the answer. Yes. Yes. Come on, get the answer. Get the answer. Get the answer. Get the answer. Yes. Yes. Get the answer. Get the answer. Try to solve. Try to solve. Read the question. Try to get the answer. That's not a problem. Please get the answer. Yes. 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 Please try to get the answer. Yes. Yes. Try to get the answer, dear. Try to get the answer. Yes. Try to get the answer, dear. Yes. Try to get the answer. See, what is given? I section of a beam is formed by gluing. Gluing is there. That means you are making a built-up section, right? A beam transmits a constant vertical force. That means V is given to you in the question. V is given to you in the question. That is 3000 Newton, right? So the glue at any of the four joint, glue at any. That means suppose this is one joint. Suppose this is one joint. This is one joint. You can see the joint, right? You can see this joint. I'm darkening it. And see the joint. You can see the joint. Four joints are there. Yes, let me change the color also if I'm not able to see. You can see the four joints. This is 1, 2, 3. Let me zoom it also for you. 3 and 4. Okay. So you can see the four joints where you need to do the gluing so that this will behave as a one. Right. So these are the four joints. The glue at any of the four joints will be subjected to a shear. That means it is asking that out of the four, you need to see only one. And you need to give the shear force per unit length for that particular glue. So out of four, you need to consider only one. I've already dealt just now that we are considering all four because we are talking for the design. But if it's asked in the question, you need to design only one. You need to give the value of the force at only one. Then you can give it very easily, right? And suppose if it go for design, you can multiply with the 4, right? Come on, get me the value. Come on, get me the value. I'll explain the question. Get the value. Get the value. Yes. Get the value. 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 I'll explain the question to you. Try to use your brain. Try to get the shear force. See the unit very properly. In which unit they have asked you the question. So see the unit very properly. Then only you can answer. Yes. 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 Try to get the value, dear. Try to solve. Yes. Try to solve. Yes. Try to solve. Very easy. You can take a area. Very easy. You can take a area. Suppose you are taking this blue. This is the first blue. Right? You are taking the first blue. Right? So you know that this is the area that is causing the shear. Right? You can see the area A. You can take the centroid, that is y bar. Right? And you need to find I. For the I section, I've already given you the shortcut for finding I. Yes or no? So the area is what? Nothing but 75 into 50. Right? The area is 75 into 50. What is y bar? The y bar is 200, half is 100. Plus, if you need to go for the center, so you need to add 25. So 100 plus 25, that is 125. Okay, the unit you should be very clear. Mm. Above is mm square. Okay, so you can write this as 5 as a 25, 2, 7, 35, 37. 3750 mm square. Right. Thereafter, a y bar you got. Next, I need to find I. So I've given you the shortcut. How to find I? You can take entire as a rectangle. Okay. So if you take entire as a rectangle, it will be have the width of 75 plus 75, 150, that is plus 50, that is 200 mm, and a total depth of 300 mm. Okay. So first of all, I will find this inertia, right, about a neutral axis. So that is what? 200 into 300 whole cube by 12. And from there, I will subtract the extra area. Better to draw a bigger diagram so that you understand. See, you have taken some extra area that is not in the web portion. So we need to remove this area. And since it is symmetric, so their centroid will lie at the neutral axis of the entire cross section. So we don't need to transfer. So what is the width? This width is 75 and the height is 200. Okay. So minus first 2 multiplied by 75 into 200 whole cube by 12. Come on, get the value now. I've given all the data. Please get the value. The unit will be in mm power 4. Get the value. 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 Yes. Come on, get the value, dear, fast. You know now everything. It will take hardly 1 minute to calculate, and in the exam it will reduce to 30 seconds. But just that you need to practice more and more. Just that you need to practice more and more to reduce the time gap. Yes. Yes. Come on. Get the answer. So what you are going to get? 200 into 300 whole cube by 12. That is how much we can write. Yes, that is nothing but 4.5 into 10 to the power 8. Okay, that value you are getting. Yes, minus this I cancel 12 by 6 times, so I get 200 whole cube into 75, okay, divided by 6. Okay, so I get 1 into 10 to power 8. So the value that I'm getting is 3.5 into 10 power 8 mm power 4. So from here we can get Q star, the shear flow, that is VA y bar by IB on one particular glue. So V is 3000 Newton. So it is asked in kilonewton. So I'm writing as 10 power minus 3 because they are asking kilonewton meter and the shear force is given in Newton. Okay. So 10 power minus 3. Area is 3750. 125 is Y. So I is not there. Sorry. I is not there. Yes. And at the bottom I you are getting as 3.5 into 10 power 8. 3.5 into 10 power 8. So first of all we can cancel this very easily, right? The next is we can see the multiplication, that is 3750 into 125 into 3 and this divided by 3.5. Okay, so the answer that you are getting is 4.01785 into 10 to the power minus this you are getting in mm. Okay, let me convert here. The entire you are getting in Newton per mm. So if I need to convert in Newton per meter, okay, I will be dividing by 10 power 3 so that I get the answer in Newton per meter. So at the bottom I am divided by 10 power 3. So the answer that you are going to get after doing this will be 4.01785 Newton per meter. So this is the exact answer. Yes, this is the exact answer. So out of the 4, which is the correct answer here? That is B. So B is your correct answer. So this is one of the very good question that asked. Nothing a very good, just you need to know the concept. If the concept is strong, the question can never be tough. That's the only thing that I know, right? If you know the question properly, no such question is tough. Yes. Any doubt in this part you can ask. Yes, any doubt in this part you can ask. Right? So I hope you understood the meaning of shear flow diagram, how to draw the shear stress diagram, right? We have seen how the variation will see in the rectangular, circular and everything, right? So see, that's what I'm saying, that we are having some limitation on the YouTube. We cannot go in every detail, like we can motivate you, we can give you the technical part. But if you want to secure a good rank in the GATE and ESE, I think for if you take my personal call, I will say that a student should have a proper scheduling, proper timing, and they should not only learn technical for getting a good marks, but they should also learn the non-tech, which can only be possible on a continuous basis when you have a environment for learning. And this environment we are providing at an academy, right? This environment we are providing at an academy, right? So if anyone who is willing to join, right, although I want those who are preparing, everyone should join, but if anyone is willing to join, they can use my code of BAHAR10, as my name is Abhishek Bhartia. You can use this code, and once you apply this code, you can get a 10% discount. So whatever the fee structure you want, if you go for 6 month course, it will be 20,000. So if you get a discount of 10%, that will be 18,000. For 12 months, it will be 22,500 after discount, and for 24 months, it will be 27,000. Right? So use this discount. And those who are new to this channel, please like this channel, subscribe to this channel, right? And please join the Facebook group for the doubt clearance, right? For whatever the small doubts you are having, and clear over there, right? And all the PDFs will be available on the Telegram group. Please join that group, right? Please join that group. And any doubt you are having, you can personally contact me on my Facebook account, that is Abhishek 33778, right? Link with the Abhishek 33778. You can access my account, right? And you can message me. I will be replying to your doubts or anything that you require for the subscription. Okay, thank you so much. We'll meet tomorrow.